It was just before dawn, the Sicilian sky still heavy with night. A hush over the old rooftops of Palermo. But inside, something extraordinary stirred. Thousands of police officers moving like ghosts through narrow alleys. The calm was broken by the flash of blue lights, the crash of doors, the silence of fear. That morning changed everything. For decades, the old guard of the Sicilian Mafia, the Cosa Nostra, had ruled parts of Palermo with an iron code of silence, intimidation, and control. Families paying protection money, business owners forced to bend, young people growing up in alleys overshadowed by power no one questioned. But in early 2025, something shifted. Investigators uncovered whispered words among old mobsters, encrypted messages, secret phones smuggled even inside prisons. They realized the mafia thought they were invisible. They were wrong. The central figures weren't fictional. Shadowy bosses, men of honor, rebuilding their empire. But there were also ordinary citizens, restaurant owners, fishermen, traders, people whose lives were quietly suffocated by extortion and fear. Night after night, families paid pizzo, fearing what might happen if they refused. The city moved under other people's rules. In the weeks leading to the takedown, surveillance teams listened. Wiretaps caught damaged loyalty, older bosses lamenting the miserable quality of new recruits. They spoke in hushed tones about betrayals, snitches, and a code eroding faster than they realized. Investigators traced those encrypted communications. They mapped businesses, shadow companies, front-up operations. They watched the flow of drugs and money. Then came February 11, 2025. Over 1,200 officers, police, specialized anti-mafia units, prosecutors, converged on dozens of neighborhoods and municipalities in and around Palermo. Dawn raids smashed down doors, hidden rooms, panic, confusion, men in balaclavas, hundreds arrested. At least 150 people were taken into custody that day. The charges ranged across the mafia's playbook: criminal association under mafia-type organization laws, extortion, drug trafficking, illegal gambling, attempted murder, weapons offenses. A major blow, the biggest coordinated crackdown on Cosa Nostra in decades. But it wasn't just about arrests. Evidence collected painted a new reality. This old mafia had changed. No longer meeting in smoky rooms or recognizing secrets with whispered names. They had moved to encrypted phones, hidden SIM cards, even secret digital channels. Old-school intimidation replaced by modern technological camouflage. Investigators said this was never just about local control or small-town fear. These were branching networks, collaborating with other criminal organizations. Drugs coming in, money going out. Young recruits being trained for a new generation of crime. The public reaction was immediate. Newspapers hailed it as a historic blow. Citizens long silenced by fear dared to hope. Local businesses, once squeezed under mafia extortion, expressed cautious relief. And in the Italian capital, politicians spoke in firm tones. The state would not yield to criminal power. Still, seasoned analysts warned this was not the end. Even as hands were cuffed, the roots of mafia influence ran deep. The legacy of generations of fear, poverty, corruption, the promise of quick money, the complicity of businesses too afraid or too complicit to refuse the deal. And critical. The old mafia's shift to silent digital operations, encrypted messaging, ghost companies, laundered money, meant their next move could be harder to trace. Yet there was a second front. On May 3, 2023, authorities in multiple countries coordinated what would become the largest pan-European strike against mafia-type crime. More than 2,700 officers raided locations tied to the 'Ndrangheta, long accused of controlling much of Europe's cocaine trade. They arrested 132 suspects that day. Businesses seized. Front companies shuttered. Sentences totaling over 1,098 years have already been handed down. It was a sign the war had shifted, no longer isolated crackdowns, but large-scale cross-border operations, coordinated investigations, intelligence sharing, digital tracking, wiretaps, encrypted messaging analysis, shadow banking networks. For victims, the families extorted into silence, the shopkeepers forced to pay, the young people drawn into criminal life, these operations offered a sliver of justice. For communities across Sicily, Calabria, northern Italy, and beyond, they offered hope. But justice is slow. Networks are deep. Money is resilient. The systems enabling these crimes often remain. Ghost companies, offshore accounts, front businesses. The fight is far from over. Still, Operation Eureka stands as a turning point, a demonstration that no criminal empire, no matter how entrenched, is invincible. With meticulous investigation, cooperation, and courage, the long arm of justice can reach even the darkest corners. And for those who survived, who resisted, this is a message. You are not forgotten. Violence may cast a long shadow, but even in silence, truth can be found. Even in fear, justice can take hold.